why now, given how committed Hawaii is officially and at a very high level, at the grassroots level, to 100% renewable energy by 2040, why so quietly, and why in such an aggressive backroom political manner of what's called a concurrent resolution, rather than a more due process approach. So what does it say? It says intermittent renewables like wind and solar are not sufficient to rely on to build up, to contribute a large portion of our energy generation. Within that, they're also minimizing the impact of storage, energy storage and batteries, which right now the state of Hawaii is involved, or the utility in Hawaii is involved in procuring hundreds of millions of dollars worth of energy storage in order to firm up, to create reliability for all of the solar and wind that we have. But apparently that's not enough for these people, because the definition that they're looking for is 24/7 availability, 365 days a year, much like a fossil fuel powered power plant that can just create power 24/7 when you press a button. This is the first piece of the law, 24/7, 365 definition of renewables, firm renewables, and which they say that in terms of sources of energy, the best for that is burning wood, called biomass, and burning biodiesel or biofuels. Piece number 2 is that portion, the firm renewable biomass piece, should be 55% of all energy procured by the grid. Number 3 is the cap on other renewable sources, such as solar and wind, at 45% of all generation. Now, depending on how you calculate those caps, and there's some debate, controversy in how that's managed, one way of calculating them shows that Maui and Kauai are already at the cap for renewables, which means if this bill became law, it would be reasonable to expect that the utility and the PUC may turn around and say, no more solar and wind on Maui and Kauai, see you later. And a very hard line on Big Island and Oahu of 45%, and when you get there, no more there either. Because the debate has moved on, as you mentioned, significantly from burning stuff to generating energy and storing it, and then supplying it using technology, using the internet, and even the blockchain in some cases, using the internet to manage the immediate delivery of energy to where it's needed. So in California, for example, the California PUC has a definition of firm renewables, which says if you have wind or solar at utility scale paired with 4-hour duration storage, which means once that battery is full, it'll deplete itself or discharge itself over a 4-hour cycle. If you have these facilities on site, you have firm renewables. So 4 hours, and 4 hours placed in various places around the grid versus load and transformers will enable you to manage a 24-hour cycle based off of AI, artificial intelligence, which will tell you where and when you need to send this energy for an instantaneous result. Now, in Hawaii, the models which the government and the utility are or let's say that the lawmakers are using to make these arguments do not include these inputs.
Old data they're using.
Exactly.
The grid services part has been kind of the most exciting point that I've seen since I've been doing this. It's like, that is the tip of the spear, the true bleeding edge of what renewable energy is. And that's the most technology part of this whole product is the management of it and the communication of it, and the AI interface of the battery storage to production to distribution to right along the lines, everything's being distributed nodes, but connected.
Absolutely, the distributed nodes, so fundamentally from an economic, I was getting chicken skin, as you said, all that, to the senator's point about multiple sources of energy, it's 100% right. Where should those sources come from? Who should provide them? And who should manage them? That's where the debate is. And it's a very real, substantial debate that we need to engage with in the Commons, with everybody involved. And I think that's the point that we're trying to make here in opposing this specific piece of legislation, and the way that it was introduced was that's not suitable for the impact that these things are having.